Kamala Harris announced her major tax proposal yesterday at a very interesting event in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Trump furious that Kamala Harris is announcing tax policy. As we discussed yesterday on the bonus show, Kamala Harris with a new plan to increase tax deductions for startups to $50,000, making it less expensive to start a business, meant to spur innovation. She explains it. Trump doesn't like the fact that she is actually rolling out policies that people like.
And so all of this is why, as president, one of my highest priorities will be to strengthen America's small businesses. And here I am in New Hampshire to announce a few elements of my plan to do that.
Elements.
So first, we're going to help more small businesses and innovators get off the ground, okay? Now, I'm setting...
Geez, that's not sounding like communism to me.
What some, I'm sure, are going to call a very ambitious goal, but you know what? I think we should admire ambition in each other. So I want to see 25 million new small business applications by the end of my first term.
And by the way, that is an ambitious number. It's not going to happen, but if you can even get a fraction of that, it would still be a major accomplishment.
To help achieve this, we will lower the cost of starting a new business. So here's the thing. On average, it costs about $40,000 to start a new business in America. That is a great financial barrier for a lot of folks, and it can hold entrepreneurs back. And the current tax deduction for a startup is just $5,000, okay? So then you got to make up the delta there. Got to figure out how you're going to do that. Not everyone has access to that kind of wealth.
Isn't it weird that she's talking about policy rather than insulting people and using various epithets?
And capital. So part of my plan is we will expand the tax deduction for startups to $50,000. Tax cut for starting a small business. Second, my plan will help existing small businesses grow. We will provide low and no interest loans to small businesses that want to expand. And we will, and this is very important, cut the red tape that can make starting and growing a small business more difficult than it needs to be.
This is very much not Marxism. I think that that's abundantly clear. And Trump is not liking that Kamala Harris is scooping him on the economic policy. What does Trump have? Trump's got tariffs, okay? As this speech was going on, Trump posted 22 times in an hour to Truth Social. I don't even want to waste your time with it today. We'll look at it tomorrow. But she is doing policy. And by the way, also important to mention, if you want to hear the real pro-life position, here is Kamala Harris addressing yesterday's shooting at a Georgia school.
Before I begin, I do want to say a few words about this tragic shooting that took place this morning in Winder, Georgia. We're still gathering information about what happened, but we know that there were multiple fatalities and injuries. And you know, our hearts are with all the students, the teachers, and their families, of course. And we are grateful to the first responders and the law enforcement that were on the scene. But this is just a senseless tragedy on top of so many senseless tragedies. And it's just outrageous that every day in our country, in the United States of America, that parents have to send their children to school worried about whether or not their child will come home alive. It's senseless. It is. We've got to stop it. And we have to end this epidemic of gun violence in our country once and for all. You know, it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. So we will continue, of course, to send our prayers and our thoughts to the families and all those who were affected, including, you know, I'm going off script right now, but listen, I mean, you know, at the last year, I started a college tour, And I traveled our country meeting with our young leaders, right? And so it was college-age young leaders. So I did trade schools, colleges, universities, community colleges. By the way, I love Gen Z. I just love Gen Z.
All right, so now getting into some other stuff, but this is the real pro-life position, right? Not let's be pro-life by controlling women's bodies and trying to inject ourselves into rooms where doctors and patients are discussing what's best for them. That's not the pro-life position. The pro-life position is, are we going to do anything about this insane and depraved epidemic of gun violence? That's really the pro-life position. So a very good speech by Kamala Harris, heavy on empathy, but also heavy on policy. Trump flying off the handle as this was going on. We'll look at some of his reaction tomorrow. When I'm working on the show or doing stuff on my computer, staying focused and getting in the zone is super important. It's not always easy. I would try Spotify or YouTube playlists. I'd end up actually more distracted than focused. And then someone told me about Brain FM's focus music, which is actually made by scientists working with musicians specifically to help you focus. I tried it and it worked really well for me, which is why I asked them to be a sponsor. With Brain FM, I just feel more productive and focused, easier to start on difficult work, easier to stay focused without getting distracted and do that really important deep work that I love to talk about. The team behind Brain FM actually won a National Science Foundation grant related to ADHD. And the app includes a special mode just for ADHD if you need it. They even have amazing sleep sounds that I've started using at night. You can try Brain FM totally free for an entire month. Just go to brain.fm/Pacman. The link is down below.